All right, let's talk about long division. If you were in our Zoom meeting yesterday, we talked about this acronym or mnemonic device to help us remember the steps for long division. Before I go over that, remember, this is new. You're also trying to learn this from home. So if you're feeling frustrated or you're feeling like you don't understand, we're going to keep practicing. And you're going to have lots of time when you come back to school and you're back in the classroom to practice this skill and get it to a place where you really understand it. This is brand new. Okay. All right, the steps for long division. Dad, mom, sister, brother, rover. The first letters of the family members help us to remember the steps for long division. These steps continue to repeat themselves until you've run out of numbers to divide. Dad to divide, mom to multiply, sister subtract, brother bring down, rover, meaning to either repeat this whole process, or if you have anything left over that you cannot divide, that is called a remainder. And we're not going to talk about remainders today. All right, so here's our steps. This 75 is my dividend. It is my biggest number. We're so used to reading from left to right that this part can be a little confusing. So remember that my dividend goes underneath. Okay, so instead of saying 75 divided by 3, this problem reads 3 goes into 75. So the first thing I do is I divide. I divide just that first number, the 7, the tens place, or the 70. How many times does 3 go in to 7? Well, I ask myself what times 3 gets me a number that's close to 7 but does not go over. Well, 3 times 2 is 6. That does not go over 7. 3 times 3 is 9. That's too many. So I put my 2 up top. Now I have to multiply. Okay, so first I divided 3 into 7. I got 2. Answers go on the top. Again, things look a little backwards. Then I multiply. I multiply my new piece of the answer, that 2, times my divisor. That gives me how much I'm going to take away because I've already divided part. I have to take away that part I divided. So I can continue dividing what I have left. So I do 3 times 2, and my answer goes right underneath the number I already divided, the 7. I place my 6. I then, sister, subtract. I subtract what I divided by how much I'm able to take away. 7 minus 6 is 1. Once I have done my subtraction, brother will bring down what I still need to divide. So he comes downstairs and he's like, oh, you forgot this part. I bring down my 5. I now have 15 pieces of candy, brownies, cookies, whatever you want them to be, to divide up between my friends. All right, so then I ask myself, this becomes my new little, like dividend, for lack of a better word. I could even put the line right here and put my 3 right here. So I know that I'm still dividing by 3, but now I'm dividing the 15, what I had left over. So remember, 70 minus 60 leaves me with 10, and I brought down the 5. 3 goes into 15. How many times without going over? Well, 3 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. That's right. So my answer, remember, answer goes on the top. Super silly, I know, but 3 goes into 15 5 times. So I go ahead and I put my 5 right up here on the top. I then continue my steps again, okay? So I divided. I have to finish. Once you have this 5 up here, you're not quite done. You have to finish the steps. So then I multiply. I multiply the 5, the new piece of my answer, times 3. 3 times 5 is 15. That goes right here. Then I sister subtract. 15 minus 15 leaves me with 0. When I have reached this 0, I know I am done. I do not need to repeat or bring down. There's nothing left to bring down. So my answer, 75 divided by 3, is, that's right, 25. All right, let's go ahead and look at your particular page that you have today. So your page today is 17.1. So if you do not have this out in front of you, go ahead and grab it right now. It is RW95. So 17.1 RW95. If you need to pause the video, pause right here. All right, modeling division. They're going to show us some ways that they kind of break up this division. You can divide 2-digit numbers without remainders using base 10 blocks. Use the model to find the quotient. Remember, that's the answer to division. 36 divided by 3. Well, they have their base 10 blocks here. Remember, this is 10, and these are 1s. So I can see visually that if I need to divide 36 into 3 equal groups, these are my equal groups, I have 3 10s. So each group will easily get a 10. I take this 10 and I put it into the first group. I draw an arrow. I take this 10, it goes into this group, and I take my final 10 and it goes in here. But then I still have my 1s. So the easiest thing to do is to take each one and put it in the group, and then whatever you have left, you keep going until you've run out. We can see that there are 2 1s in each group. Now remember, the answer to division isn't adding everything up. You're not counting how many you have all together anymore. That was multiplication. Now you just want to know how many are in one group. So how many blocks do I have in one group? Well, in one group, I have 10 and 2 more. So I have 12. Here are the steps using long division. All right, we're going to do a couple, let me erase this, a couple of problems together before I turn you loose. All right. Using the model, we can find the quotient. This model shows us that we have 34 to start with, and we need 2 equal groups. Does everybody see that? All right, so I can see that I can put 1 10 into one group and 1 10 into another group. But then I'm going to have to break up this other 10 because I don't need 3 groups. I only need 2. So I already have 10 in each group. I can easily split this 10 in half. If I split a 10 in half, how many will go in each group? That's right, 5. So right now I have 15 in each group. But don't forget about the 1s. I have 4 1s. How do I split those in half or into 2 groups? Great job. Exactly. You add 2 more. So now I can see that 34 divided by 2 is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Great job. But let's try doing this the long division way. Let's plug in these numbers. All right, looking over here at our template, you have 2 as your divisor, right? My divisor goes on the outside. So here's where my 2 is going to go. Sorry, my handwriting is going to be very messy on this. It's a little different to do this here. And then 34 is my dividend, or what I'm breaking up. That goes right here. Boop. Remember how complicated this was? Woo, there we go. All right, 34. Okay, now the first thing I need to do is DAD. What does DAD stand for? Great job. Exactly. It stands for divide. So the first thing I ask myself is how many times can this 2 go into this 3 without going over? Well, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. Well, 2 times 2, that's too many. That would require me to have 4 pieces. So it can only go in once. Remember, my answer to division goes up top. What step do I do next? Right, Mom, multiply. I always multiply my new piece of the answer by my divisor. So what is 1 times 2? Exactly, it is 2. You guys knew that, right? That kind of looks like a Z, but it's a 2, I promise. All right, what step is next? Exactly, sister subtract. 3 take away 2 leaves me with 1. I knew you knew it. Okay, now what's next? If you said brother bring down, you are doing excellent. All right, so I take this 4 that I still need to divide and I place it right here. So now I have 14. I had 34. I took away 20. Remember, this isn't 2. It's in my tens place, so it's 20. I took away 20 from my 34, and I still have 14 left to divide. And remember, I'm still dividing by the same divisor. Now I need to know how many times 2 goes into 14. Because 2 can't go into 1. There's not enough. So how many times does 2 go into 14? Remember, we repeat the steps again. We're back on divide. So we can skip count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's right, 14. So it goes in 7 times. Answers to division go right along the top. Now, do I get to be done now? I have both the boxes filled. That's right, we're not quite done. We have to finish the steps. So we dad divide. Now we mom multiply. Okay, here's where it gets tricky. Some of you are going to want to multiply all of that 17 by the 2. But we don't multiply all of 7, that whole answer. We only multiply the new piece of the answer. Okay, so the new piece of the answer is 7. We multiply 2 times 7, and we get 14, right? All right, after I mom multiply, I still need to, that's right, sister subtract. So 14 minus 14 leaves us with 0. Now we know we're done. I can no longer brother bring down or Rover repeats. All right, let's try one more together. Number 2, I have 42 and I need to split it into 3 groups. So we plug our numbers in. Our dividend goes right here. Let's plug it in there. And my divisor, so how many times does 3 go in to 42? Okay, first step, dad divide. I take my divisor and I only divide it in to my highest place value. For this problem, it's a 4 in the tens. How many times does 3 go into 4? Great job. 1 time. Then I, Mom, multiply. 3 times 1 is, that's right, 3. All right, after I Mom multiply, I sister subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1. Great job. Then after I sister subtract, I brother bring down. Now remember, that's not just a regular 1, it's a 10. When I divided 3 into the 4, I actually divided 3 into the 40. Okay? I had one whole group, or 30 into the 40, I had one whole group, and I brought it down. When I subtracted, I didn't just subtract 3. I subtracted 30. I'm left with 10, and I bring down the 2. I now have 12. Then I repeat. I repeat those same steps. Rover tells me don't forget to repeat. I'm still dividing by the same number. Nothing has changed. I can bring it down here. How many times does 3 go into 12? I go back to Dad divide. That's right, 4 times. Okay, now remember, just because you filled in these boxes up here does not mean you are done. You must still Mom multiply. And remember, we don't Mom multiply the whole 14. We only Mom multiply the new part of that answer. 3 times 4 is, great job, you're doing great. It is 12. Excellent work. All right, am I done? That's right. I still have to sister subtract. 12 minus 12 is 0. I've reached a 0, which means I no longer need to brother bring down or Rover repeat. Excellent work, excellent work. All right. All right, so your job today then is to look at the back side of this page, PW 95. We're still on 17.1. And I'd like you to practice what we've been talking about, doing numbers 1 through 6. You might need to use some scratch paper, so please use scratch paper if you need more space. If you'd like to challenge yourself, go ahead and try doing the word problems. But today I'd like you just to practice these steps. Remember, Dad divide, Mother multiply, sister subtract, brother bring down, Rover repeat. If you have any questions or you'd like to walk through any of these problems, I do have office hours today. So check in with me and we can do some work together.